Here's what's happening on Action News with Jim Gardner. It's a step back in time as we take you on a rare tour of Anne Frank's home, plus interviews with the remaining few that knew her well. And how much more rain will there be? Dave Roberts with your AccuWeather forecast on Action News at 11.
I'm Jim Gardner. Next, we will meet the real-life people who knew and helped Anne Frank and see the actual sites where her story took place. An Action News investigation. Are dangerous fumes leaking into the buses your children ride to school? It's a chain reaction pileup between some cars and a small airplane. And where you can find Sixers tickets and for how much. More rain from AccuWeather. Next.
Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program with Gary Papa, Dave Roberts, and Jim Gardner.
If you thought last summer's tire recall was a big deal, you haven't seen anything yet. This time, Ford is replacing up to 13 million Firestone tires, and the relationship between the two companies that goes back almost 100 years is officially over. It is a corporate fight to the finish. It is Monday night, and the big story in Action News tonight is another massive tire recall involving the Ford Motor Company and Bridgestone Firestone. Action News reporter Michelle McCormack is live on the Schuylkill Expressway with the details tonight. Michelle.
Well, Jim, it's Ford that is anticipated will announce an expansion of the tire recall tomorrow. But consumers may feel as if they're stuck in the middle of a blame game. Although Ford Motor Company will not comment until its CEO makes an announcement tomorrow, sources are already leaking the details to media wire services. According to the Associated Press, Ford will replace 10 to 13 million Firestone Wilderness AT tires. That expands the existing recall of 6.5 million ATX, ATX2, and Wilderness AT tires. The leak comes just hours after Firestone announced it was severing the business relationship it's had with Ford since the Model T. The chairman says Firestone's research shows that thousands of blowouts on Ford Explorers in recent years were caused by Ford's misguided inflation directions and Explorer design flaws.
Most of the deaths and injuries involve Ford Explorers, not other vehicles equipped with the same tires.
The chairman went on to say Ford ignored those findings, while in a written response, Ford said Firestone was the one not being truthful or working together to find an answer in the wake of 174 traffic deaths involving Firestone tires and the Ford Explorer. The back and forth is sure to put consumers in a tailspin.
If you're going to go to war, keep it behind closed doors. It just doesn't make good sense for your other customers. It doesn't make good sense for the end user. You know, the American consumer has got to wonder what's going on with both Ford Motor Company, with the Explorer, with Firestone.
In the meantime, experts are reminding all consumers to treat tires as sophisticated pieces of equipment that need to be maintained by checking air pressure and rotating tires regularly. And the rhetoric between the two companies has not stopped. Late tonight, Jim, Firestone issued a statement saying expanding the recall is unnecessary. Live along the Schuylkill Expressway, Michelle McCormack, Channel 6 Action News.
Thank you, Michelle. Fire has hit a house in Camden, leaving one woman badly hurt and two Camden firefighters nursing injuries. It happened at 319 Chestnut Street just after 8:30 tonight. Rescue crews found a woman trapped in the house and rushed her to Cooper Hospital. Two firefighters were treated at the scene for heat exhaustion and smoke inhalation. A 13-year-old girl is being treated for a gunshot wound to the arm after being hit here in the 200 block of East Loudon Street in the Feltonville section of Philadelphia. Doctors at Einstein Medical Center say the girl is in good condition. Police are questioning one person, but so far no charges have been filed. At least 4 people are in the hospital tonight after this crash between a car and a pickup truck. Action News was in Harrison Township, Gloucester County, just after the 7 p.m. crash at the intersection of routes 55 and 322. Police say the vehicles collided head-on, but there is no word yet on whether today's rain had anything to do with it. 3 of the victims are now in critical condition at Cooper Medical Center in Camden. A 4th is at JFK Hospital in Washington Township. Opening arguments today in the case of the wrong-way driver on I-95. It was March 17th of last year when 20-year-old Jordan Inselman of New York was killed in a 2-car crash in northeast Philadelphia. Charges say that 41-year-old Michael Simone of Bustleton was drunk, had drugs in his system, and had driven 8 miles in the wrong direction on 95 before smashing into Inselman's car. But Simone's lawyer, A. Charles Peruto, revealed today that Inselman was under the influence of cocaine and heroin at the time of the crash, and unlike other drivers along the way, was unable to avoid Simone's car. Peruto thinks the charges of third-degree murder against Simone should be dropped. An investigation has begun into the crash today of a twin-engine Beechcraft airplane in East Goshen Township, Chester County. The pilot of the small plane tried to abort the takeoff at the Brandywine Airport, but the plane crashed into a handful of parked cars across a field in an industrial complex. Fortunately, pilot John Gustav of Berwyn sustained only a cut lip. He walked away. Gustav would not tell us directly, but he apparently told authorities that his engines failed to get enough power to take off. Good news for 1,500 workers at Boeing in Delaware County in Ridley Park. The Pentagon says the production should continue on the V-22 tilt-rotor Osprey. It is a controversial decision because a total of 23 Marines were killed in 2 crashes of the Osprey last year. In South Philadelphia today, Delaware County Congressman Kurt Weldon held a hearing and heard from the widow of one of the Osprey crash victims. Said Tricia Bro, it would be a horrible disservice to the families of the 23 Marines to fly the Osprey before its problems are solved. Weldon said there is no choice but to proceed with the Osprey to replace the 1960s vintage helicopter. A jewel thief hit a store in the Franklin Mills Mall tonight. Police tell Action News that a man walked into the Jewelry Castle store at 6:30, asked to see some items, then grabbed $20,000 in jewelry and fled. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. There is still no sign of 36-year-old Kimberly Zumsky, missing from her home in Cinnaminson, New Jersey since May 8th. But Action News has learned that Zumsky filed for divorce against her husband in March and makes some stinging accusations in her divorce complaint. The complaint alleges that Tom Zumsky threatened to kill Kimberly on numerous occasions and that Kimberly is in extreme fear that he will carry out his threat. Tom Zumsky's lawyer told Action News that his client has nothing to hide, has cooperated fully with police, and wants his wife to come home. Word is we may know by tomorrow what sparked the 9-alarm fire in Bridgeport, Montgomery County last week. But Action News has already learned that authorities have concluded the fire was not arson. Investigators today called in a team of electrical engineers, and so they may be probing the possibility of an electrical fire. We should know the details during an official announcement tomorrow. The National Safety Council has issued a report card on seatbelt use, and 1/3 of the states have below average grades. A total of 19 states receive D's and F's. And in fact, the U.S. ranks below almost every other developed country when it comes to using seatbelts. Only California earned an A grade, with 89% of motorists buckling up. As for our area, Pennsylvania scored a C-, New Jersey a B-, and the state of Delaware a C-. A victory for preservationists tonight in Montgomery County. Authorities have decided not to let a developer tear down the historic Black Horse Inn to make way for a liquor store and a pharmacy. It is yet to be decided if he'll be allowed to tear it down at all. The inn on Bethlehem Pike in Flourtown has been around since the 1740s, and perhaps it will be around for a while longer. Well, you don't have to be a hardcore basketball fan to be excited about the 76ers. It was pandemonium at the First Union Center as the Sixers beat Toronto by 1 point last night to win the 7th and deciding game. And with Milwaukee coming to town tomorrow night, the center will be bedlam once again. Action News reporter Dan Quayer is live outside the arena tonight, where it is much quieter than it was last night. Dan, the Sixers are it right now.
That's right, Jim. This place is empty now, but tomorrow night, this place is going to be jam-packed with Sixers fans. After eking out a nail-biter win over the Raptors, suddenly everybody seems to be on the Sixers bandwagon, and things are starting to get a little crazy. I mean, really crazy.
Today was a really interesting day for our website.
Sixers webpage operators can't believe it. Fresh from their thrilling 88-87 win over the Raptors, the team is getting emails from new fans all over the world.
Romania, I've never even heard of the city in Romania it's from, but it's amazing.
The Sixers webpage suddenly has become tied with the Lakers webpage as the most popular site in the NBA.
We've been battling with the Lakers all season.
Really?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny to see how it's going to shape up the end with the two teams once we get by the Bucks.
I take 2 of them.
People were lined up since 5:30 in the morning for a chance of getting some of the 500 tickets that went up for grabs for games 1 and 2. They sold out in less than an hour. As one fan put it,
feel good. Ain't felt this way since Andrew Tony Moo Cheeks, Dr. J.
and merchants say Sixers merchandise has suddenly become the best-selling item. Crazier still is what some people are willing to pay for Sixers tickets on eBay. Someone in Norristown dished out $700 for a seat for Tuesday's game in section 107, row 3. That's behind the basket. And somebody else at last check was bidding $250.01 for a chance to get a seat for Game 7, a game that might not even happen. Then there's the stuff the Sixers auction off to benefit charities, like a framed ESPN magazine signed by Allen Iverson.
Right now at $1,100.
Or one of Dikembe Mutombo's sneakers that he autographed.
And the closing price was over $3,000 for one signed Dikembe Mutombo sneaker.
If you think that's crazy, you haven't heard it all yet.
Billy King, the general manager, who is very, very superstitious.
In the offices of Sixers GM Billy King, only one kind of candy is now allowed on workers' desk: Red Hots.
One time we went to chocolate wafers, the Whoppers, and we lost. And Billy told us we weren't allowed to ever have Whoppers on our desk again. So
strictly Red Hots.
Strictly Red Hots here for the playoffs and the 76ers.
Okay, no more coffee for Billy King. You get that, everyone? Red Hots. Forget the Whoppers, forget the Milk Duds. Red Hots. Live at the First Union Center in South Philly, I'm Dan Cuellar, Channel 6, Action News.
Thank you, Dan. Still to come on Action News tonight on Health Check, the toxin that may relieve lower back pain. And we will meet the real-life heroes from the Anne Frank story.
Well, we finally got our rain today, over 1 inch of rain in some sections throughout the tri-state area. Does the rain hang on? We'll find out when we take a look at that AccuWeather forecast.
And the danger that may be lurking on your child's school bus. That story and more when Action News continues tonight.
Tonight on Action News, a brush that promises to wipe away stubborn cellulite and tighten your sagging skin.
It works. Just amazing how well it works.
Health Check reporter Anita Brickman shows you how women are brushing away fat. Tonight on Action News at 11. Congratulations, Philadelphia. Your 76ers are headed to the Eastern Conference Finals. Best of luck to the Sixers against the Bucks from the team Philadelphia sports fans count on.
Channel 6 News, Sixers can't beat either one, baby. Can't beat either one.
At last, come.
From the director of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Everything will be just fine.
A film by Ang Lee. Chosen. Now playing at bmwfilms.com. Plan your getaway at massvacation.com.
Even though we just turned 60, we're still climbing mountains, trekking through forests, and playing in the mud. And now we're celebrating that heritage during the Cheap Anniversary event. Get a $1,000 cash allowance and 0% APR financing when you buy a Grand Cherokee. Or returning Daimler Chrysler lessees with preferred credit can lease